Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's podcast. Seth and I talk about no more promises from the kids. Stop making deals. I run into this so often with kids wanting to, I'll do that later, but just give me this now. I can't wait for you to hear more. It's a real messy dynamic that I would love everyone to try to figure out how to get out of. Okay, have a good listen. Hey, everybody. So glad to be with you today. And hello, Seth.
Good morning.
I'm kind of excited for today's topic. It actually travels back to when I was very young. I would write my mom these little tiny little notes that said, I owe you dishes. I owe you, I'm going to do your dishes. Or
Okay.
I owe you, I'm going to feed the cat. Or I owe you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, is this like this thing we did? And I'm going to ask you, Seth, do you think I ever did them?
No.
No. I didn't do a
Just
single one of
be
those
my
IOUs.
response. No.
No.
And I think of you as a pretty responsible human being now, but I know you now.
That's true. That's true. We didn't know each other when I was 6. Yeah, there was this thing, and I meant it when I said it. I meant it because at the time I was probably feeling
Guilty?
possibly guilty, or I was asking for something.
Oh, so like I'll do this, but
Yeah.
it's because I want XYZ.
Just let me stay out an hour later. I promise. Tomorrow I'm going to get up and I will do those dishes.
Right.
Right? I promise. I owe you. I will do this. I will do that. Just give me this one thing. Just do it.
Right.
And my mom was actually pretty smart.
Yeah.
Even though she did fall for it, I think a good number of times until she
Right.
realized that
Sure.
they don't work.
Well, I think individuals sometimes are just hoping for whatever it is they want in return. I do think that oftentimes people have the best intentions. They are going, or they have the desire to do it and follow through, but that doesn't translate into action.
Right. I absolutely agree. And I couldn't say all the time does someone have, good intentions, but I think a lot of times when the brain is after something, like, just let me take the car. I promise. I'll wash it tomorrow. Or I'll go get the oil changed, or whatever it is. We make these seemingly thought out, although they're not, but these ideas of like, I'll make it up to you, that kind of a thing, right? I'll make it up to you. Just do this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I think many people, kiddos, and even young adults, and even regular adults, mean well to some degree. But mostly they just want to get what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. They want to get what they want in the moment, as well as maybe don't want the accountability part of it.
Yeah.
Like needing to do something in order to have the privilege of whatever it is they're asking for.
Right.
And I think oftentimes it leads to, maybe from the parent side, wishful thinking or hope that then kind of gets trampled on, for lack of.
I like it. Trampled hope. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
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 And what it does is it does also set up a pattern where the kiddo feels a little bit more in charge. The kiddo is also, right, feeling like they can get away with stuff. Excuse me. And it also, it's sort of like a precedent of, I get what I want first, and I don't have to do anything for it.
Would you describe that as almost transactional, like transactional relating?
Yeah, actually, I don't think it's meant to be,
Right.
right? But I do think that yes. And the end, it's like, I'll do this for you if you do this for me, right?
Right.
And that is kind of how kids work anyway, a bit. But transactional is like, typically, I am just after what I want, and I don't give a rat's ass about you. That's typically what they mean when they're talking transactional. And I don't think this is necessarily that, Although I can see how it's connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it also can set up a precedent
Yes.
that leads to, maybe, I don't know if it's power struggle or leads to just, well, you've done this. You did it last time. Why can't I do it this time?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
Totally.
like a
Yes.
standard, an
Yeah.
expectation that isn't necessarily benefiting either of
Yes.
y'all.
Yeah. And it absolutely messes boundaries up, right?
Mm-hmm.
The boundary expectation, it just it gets to be so squirrely
Mm,
because it's the give this to me now, which also encourages more impulsivity
sure.
without any responsibility.
Right.
So they're getting this freedom upon freedom upon freedom with no
Mm.
with promised responsibility, but not any action of responsibility. And then all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but it looks a lot like entitlement. And it probably
Sure.
feels a lot like entitlement to the parent,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. And I'm thinking about specifically in a lot of the work that I do, like sometimes we go for a hike, maybe the goal is to reach a summit. Well, you don't get the view until you do the work.
Yeah, very much. Right?
You don't get the reward of the of that, picturesque, calm, peaceful place without doing the work to get up there.
Yeah. And then you've earned it, right? You've
Yeah.
actually earned the view.
Right. And you sometimes you appreciate it a lot more versus, driving up to a place that might be similar and might be somewhat,
Right. Oh, I like that. I like this analogy, right? Hiking
mhm.
or walking versus just driving up.
Yeah.
So,
And the driving up is quicker, it's faster, it's easier. And I'm not saying one way is right and one way
right.
is wrong, although what you inherently feel after working for the reward tends to be, that's more of a long-term dopamine
Hmm.
release versus the short term, I want this, I want it now, I got it. Okay, cool. Next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I feel like what really happens within parents is they start to feel really resentful.
Because I gave you this, why are
Yes.
you not doing what you said you were going to do?
Yes, yes, and I think that just a minute ago you said power struggle. I think it
Mhm.
absolutely ends up in a power struggle that the parent wants to believe or hope
Mhm.
that the kiddo will, and I mean kiddo as in your child, no matter how old they are, young adult or whatever, is going to do what they say.
Right.
But the thing is when a parent without boundaries relies on that, it's not going to work typically.
Right.
Typically not going to work. The parents actually have a responsibility to hold them to the IOU, let's say, if you let it go once. Like if you're like, okay, fine. Like
We'll
there's this,
try it once.
we'll try it once, right? We've all got to try it once. I get that. We want to, and some kids might follow through. They
Yeah,
might,
100%.
right? So it's like, okay. And that's great. But I still, even if you have I'm just going to say an easier, maybe mentally stable, functioning kiddo,
Mm,
the IOU thing, I just have never seen work continually. It's it's
right.
not in the right order.
So, can I just throw this little caveat out there that, like, if
Sure.
you are going to try this, that you also set the standard or vocalize the boundary of, I'm willing to try this. If this doesn't work and if you don't follow through, I won't be doing it again. Or I'm willing to do this until you don't hold up your end of the bargain. But laying that out ahead of time is incredibly important if you are to do this. But again, I think what we're talking about is not, so that as an individual, like, you don't, I don't know, let's think about the standard of the expectation when it comes to setting people up for success in life, and that is ultimately the goal, right? You don't get an A and then turn in your work in
And then have to do the
order,
homework.
yeah, and then have to do the homework. You don't get paid and then do a job, right? Like, it's this is setting somebody up for the standards of life. I think is also an invaluable lesson that sometimes you have to do the work in order to be able to get the paycheck. You have to do the work in school in order to get the grade. And everything that we do as parents or guardians is to try to help somebody understand what the, I don't know, the rules
Yeah.
of life are
Yeah. How
outside
life
of,
works.
yeah, how life works, so that they're not blindsided and feel, like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to operate in this world, in this system.
Yeah. How come my boss didn't pay me ahead of time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's so interesting because I think cognitively parents are like, duh, like I get
Hmm.
it. I mean, they're adults, they have jobs. But it's so interesting because let's talk about what gets in the way
Mm.
of a parent sort of keeping to the steps of that, right? And I know we're kind of talking generally, and I also want to get into some examples, but let's
Hmm.
first talk about why a parent would take a promise or would say yes to an IOU or would let their kiddo, have their cake before they bake it, kind of a thing, or eat their cake before. Let's. Oh, is that? Well, maybe that doesn't
Eat their
work.
cake before they bake it. I don't know.
Before they have it.
Okay.
Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about. So, why would parents take a promise? What do you think?
I think a lot of times it's for a parent goal, but maybe not
Ah,
an individual's goal, right? Like, and an example that I want to get into, which is maybe specific, is an individual who is maybe going to school, doesn't want to be going to school.
okay.
And parents like, well, I really want you going to school. And let's say it's university or college of some sort. So I'm going to give you X amount per week as as a stipend for you attending your classes and doing the work,
Ah,
right?
okay.
Well, number one, how are you
Boo.
how are you going to, number one, is that creating more work for yourself? Is it up to the individual to now prove to you that they are attending classes and doing the work?
Oh, it sounds
It-
so messy.
right, it just creates a lot of messiness. And also, if the individual truly doesn't want to be going to university, I'm not talking about high school, I'm talking about like
Mm,
university. If the individual really doesn't want that, but this is your goal and you're trying to help support your goal, is that ultimately beneficial for them in their path?
right. No, just gonna offer that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, the bribery thing is pretty terrible. I mean, it seems like a good idea. It seems
Right.
like, well, I just want to get them there and then they're going to take
Right.
off. And
Right.
that's the idea, right? Is this like you're
Right.
saying this desire or hope from the parent to help their kiddo launch
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Because it does come back to the parents. Like, I just want a kiddo who's not sitting on like the couch. And how do I make that happen? Yes.
Right.
Great.
Right. Right.
Okay. Love it.
I think another example could be, the use of a vehicle. Like,
Mm,
and I think you see that one a lot. Like, hey, I want to be able to drive to go do XYZ. But maybe they're not following through with their chores. Maybe they're not following through with attending school
yeah. Maybe.
assignments. And now we're talking back to like high school or junior
Yeah.
high, or, well, obviously high school if someone's driving. But yeah, like, hey, I don't feel like I have any freedom. This is really ridiculous. Just let me drive the car on Friday night and I'll do all the chores that you've asked of me over the weekend.
Right. Yes, exactly. So all the
Right?
promising. Yep.
It's this IOU thing, but yet they've had all week to
Yes.
get this stuff done. They
Right.
know what the expectation is. And does this also then mean that you are not upholding your boundary when it comes to an expectation, which leads to a lack of consistency and a lack of structure?
Right. Yeah. It's interesting because I think maybe why a parent wouldn't hold that is because of it's a pain in the neck. It is
Sure.
absolutely hard to hold boundaries. It's very hard. And it's hard to say no.
Right.
And so let's say that, well, and part of the reason why a parent might kind of slip into this kind of situation is one, they haven't set up any precedent or a boundary consequence type of thing. Like you get to earn the car when you've done this all week. And then guess what? It's yours Friday night. Like they haven't
Yeah.
set anything up. So
Sure.
sometimes we learn as we go,
Fair.
and maybe our kid hasn't asked and hasn't driven anywhere for months, or they barely got their permit and we don't really know what we're
Mm,
doing. There's that situation. And so maybe we try once this promise
mm,
thing, and then we find out, oh, okay, that doesn't work. So then the idea would be to set up something so that the kid and the parents know what to expect, right? Then they can
right.
say and hold to it. So it takes some thought and a little bit of, yeah, well, for sure, forethought, and maybe even someone else like a parent coach could also be helpful in
Yeah.
like what they've seen work. But it's hard being a parent. It is
Sure.
hard. It's the hardest thing, I swear anyone will ever do. I'm not saying other things aren't hard, but I feel like it's one of the hardest things. And one of the hardest things is to have to say, oh, I would love for you to take the car out Friday night. I would
Mm,
absolutely love it. All you have to do is take it to the car wash, have it clean, and change the oil. We talked
mm,
about this a week ago. You've got 2 days left. Can't wait to see what you choose, right?
sure.
And holding that down, or holding that firm, I should say. So I think when I talk to parents, right? In fact, many, many families come to mind who've been through this. And they're just in a little bit of I'd say just a very unhelpful habit. Their kiddo doesn't think through things because, hello, they're mid adolescence and they don't do that.
Hmm.
And their friend calls and they
Hmm.
didn't think they were going to need the car. Like, I don't have any plans. Why would I go clean the car? Why would I go get the oil changed? Or why would I, give it a wash, or whatever it is the chore was?
Hmm.
And now it's like Friday after school and their friends are like, drive us here and drive us there. The kid's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so he didn't plan,
Right.
or she didn't plan. And now she is saying, but I didn't know. And I totally would have gone and done that stuff. But just this once, just this once. And they're saying these things. And you're as a parent going, oh, well, I don't want to be the reason. And maybe they don't even have that many friends.
Mm,
So all of a sudden there's this situation that
hmm.
sort of, accidentally kind of came around because the kid was like, I'm not gonna go do anything effort wise if there's no reason to do it.
Right.
And so then they're stuck. But here's the thing, and the parents don't want to be the bad guy. The parents don't want to be like,
No.
oh, you can't go play with your friends. But here's what I like to say. You, as a parent, you are not the one making them not go out Friday night. You
Right.
have to know that. They chose that by not thinking ahead. And let me tell you, it's very hard for them to think ahead until they run into a situation like this. And if you follow through with
Hmm.
like saying, I am so sorry. This is something you chose. You chose not to do that thing. And therefore, the consequence is you can't take the car. And I feel awful. I'm so sorry that you chose this. And you can always choose it different next time. But it was not the parent make quote unquote making them, not hang
Hmm.
out Friday night. And
Right.
sometimes it's hard for parents to see like, wait a second,
Right.
I set the boundary. They had a week to fulfill it. It's not on me if they didn't. So, okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the other component to this, which is like something to take into consideration, is the reality of like, is it sometimes easier
Yeah.
to give in, right? To be,
What's that?
versus have an angry, pissed off teen that is in your house, letting you know that they're angry and pissed off on a Friday night.
Yeah. Taking it out on their siblings or their pets.
Yeah,
Ugh. Yes. That is
right.
exactly. It's so hard.
And I mean, I get that. You get that. I mean, I fully understand that it's like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna have to deal with? Because they're not following through because they
Yeah.
didn't uphold their end of the bargain, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you said that because that is what I run into so much is
Yeah.
the fallout, quote unquote, from a kiddo. I mean,
Hmm.
sometimes it's quite extreme. Sometimes they punch walls. Sometimes they
Oh
punch
yeah.
you.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it is zero fun.
Right.
I also want to say, if you are at that point, both Seth and I get it, and it's so very difficult. So we want to know that we hear you, or we hear what might be going through your heads. It's extremely difficult stuff. I also want to say, if there's any way you can start, you want to validate. You want to be there, like, this does suck. In no way did I want this to happen for you. I am so
Right.
sorry that you are home now, stuck. Like, it's zero fun. And just keep encouraging, like, I hope that you can make a different decision next weekend. I hope. In
Right.
fact, I'd be happy to, like, wash the car with you.
Mm.
Something to kind of say, like, I get it, right?
Or also like what potentially is going to be helpful in the future. Do you want reminders? Do you not want
Yeah.
reminders?
Oh,
Right?
yes.
Because for some individuals, they truly generally forget until it's too late. I've witnessed that, I've seen it, and I think it's genuine. But for others, does the reminder, is that just gonna, antagonize and piss off? So like asking,
Mm.
what is going to be helpful in regards to, you know, holding this accountability,
Yeah,
you know?
yes. I love that. And I love asking. It's always such a good idea. And also, if you can find the courage
Mm,
and the wherewithal and the bandwidth to follow through,
mm-hmm,
sometimes the pain of that experience for them
mm-hmm.
is a significant reminder. In fact, many times. And the
Right.
more that you hold, to do what you said you would do as a parent, the more your kiddo will understand, the more they can rely on you to be consistently parenting, and
Right.
the less they will freak out.
Well, and the less you get into this time, that time, anger,
Yes.
frustration, blame,
All the
all
power
all
struggles.
all of those things.
Absolutely.
They might be really pissed off, but the hope is that they go,
Hmm.
"Yep, I knew better."
Yeah. I
Like
knew I
like
knew how this was going to go.
I knew how this was gonna go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think some of the hardest.
And the reaction does lessen over time. I will say that. Like there is hope, and I have seen it many times where the reaction does lessen because they're in that reaction becoming less is also to me a sign that they're understanding more of their part.
Yes, yeah, more accountability, a little more maturity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually seen, I think you'll agree with this. If you are going to try and change this pattern in your family, right? Which is, of course, what we're encouraging to do, change the
Hmm.
dynamic, they are going to hate it.
Oh yeah.
They
100%.
will absolutely despise you. So
Yeah.
I would say it will absolutely get worse before it gets
Before it gets better.
better. And then you will see a definite decrease and a settling.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that, because that's
Yeah.
that's yeah, it's very true. And a lot of times it's like, oh my gosh, is this now what I have to deal with every time?
Yes. Which is kind of the idea. And a lot of that is quite unconscious or subconscious with the kiddos. They're like, wait, this used to work, so I'm going to push harder. Wait a
Oh
minute. This
yeah.
this used to work for me, so I've got to dig in. And they will
Correct.
be maybe possibly more explosive and
Oh
more,
yeah.
like, kind of on the ridiculous edge of whatever they've been doing, because they're testing and they're like, I've seen that happen over and over and over again.
Mm.
Yeah. This is hard stuff. And
Oh
I've
my
seen it
goodness.
just, yeah, happen over and over. And I just, our whole intention here is to lovingly guide, right, our
Hmm.
listeners to realize, like, there really is, a light at the end of this
There is.
promising IOU tunnel,
Right. As long as it stops.
as
As
long as it
long as
stops. And you sort of,
right.
I imagine, like, kind of setting everything back right side up,
Hmm.
and realizing, like, wait a second, your child needs to earn these privileges. They are not, what's the word, obvious, or they're not
Teen, carte
guaranteed.
blanche.
Yeah, thank you. They're not guaranteed. Privileges should not be guaranteed. And I think we
Mhm.
tend to forget what a privilege is and what isn't. Like,
Yeah.
cars are privileges,
Mm.
going out with friends is a privilege, a phone is a
Yeah.
privilege, although I know not
Oh my
everybody
goodness. Right.
agrees with me on that, but dang it all. I know it's feels like a necessity. I know.
Hmm.
I know it does, especially now, day and age, especially with the teenagers these days. I get it.
Right.
And, well, what if it was a privilege in your home?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
apps and screens and all those kinds of things. So, but whatever it is, really look at this like the promising dynamic thing. It's just so messy. It's so messy.
Well, it can get very messy. The lines can get very blurred. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. But I think what we're both saying is that we haven't seen the IOUs work out in the long run. So if you can avoid getting into that or stop that pattern, we really hope that it leads to a different dynamic and a different understanding.
Yeah. Ooh, that was lovely. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for being with us today. And
Thank you.
we'll take care.
All right.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.